and everybody was scared to talk about it because he'd have him killed.
Everyone always talks about Hollywood's glitz and glamour. But behind the red carpets, private jets, and million-dollar smiles, there's a darker truth people don't want to see. For years, powerful names like Diddy and Leonardo DiCaprio have been at the center of this flashy world. They look untouchable, but now the spotlight is shifting, and when you start connecting the dots between Diddy's wild parties and Leonardo's early rise to fame, it paints a troubling picture. It's not just about music or movies anymore. It's about the silence, the access, and the doors that only open for certain people.
Probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's Leo. You're like, damn it.
God damn it.
Leo struck again.
Well, if she's over 30, you don't even have to worry about Leo.
Not over like 23.
Yeah.
30. 30 is
like
like over the hill.
Remember the photos of Jeff Bezos and his girlfriend,
Would you
Leonardo
like the
DiCaprio?
lady?
Yeah, she was like smiling at him, and then Jeff Bezos was joking around about pushing him off a cliff.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't have to worry about her, bro. She's 50.
P. Diddy party. This is what happens to the white man. It's so unfortunate. You gotta pull back though, so they can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. Would you? Get a drink at his head. And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is a actual DJ's not supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them.
What's going to happen, though, you think?
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get
Think he's
hit up.
insane, though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters.
But then it's just another
There's
Epstein. It's
murder
another
cases.
Ghislaine Maxwell, where
there's
somebody gets
murder
indicted and
cases.
nobody else. Indicted for trafficking kids to
Right,
no
to
one.
to no one.
I got my MTV. I'm savage. I'm a savage. Oh, I'm a savage. Whatever I want, I'm going to get. Whatever I want, I have to get.
Everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky
Yeah,
thing. Like, Diddy
that
hung
is
out
the
with
thing.
everybody. And I've spoken to a bunch of people who are like, yo, great dude, like, always there for you, never asked for a single thing.
Till 1 a.m.
And then
Then
freak off
everybody
begins.
says, get out of the house. It's just amazing how many people in the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala, too.
Yeah, seriously. It's like insane.
Publicly, openly,
Yeah.
all in.
Yes.
It's-
It's like J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend. and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm
Is
like,
he the
well, wait a
Babylon
second.
Bee?
So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion.
Then there's also like people that are elites, and that's their thing. Like their thing is to do something that is horrible, and it's not available to other people. So it's like, I think there's like a sickness that people
Sounds like
have
it.
when they have power, like extreme power, and then what else can I do? What else can I do? What else is what else is taboo? What else is forbidden? The thing is, like, we're getting the rumors from the internet, and the internet thinks that the Taliban took out that bridge in Baltimore. So it's like, who fucking knows? Who knows what's real?
That's what Diddy's lawyers, I think, said. It was like, these are just trumped up charges. Not trumped up, I don't think they said that, but like bullshit charges.
Dude, when Homeland Security invades your house,
You got problems.
with dudes with fucking guns and body armor.
Joe Rogan recently brought this conversation into the mainstream, and it's turning heads. He didn't shout or make wild accusations. He simply laid out facts and asked the questions the media has avoided for years. Why was a teenage Leonardo DiCaprio hanging around Diddy's exclusive parties? Why did no one in the press seem concerned? What was really going on behind the velvet ropes that separated Hollywood's most powerful from the rest of the world? It's not just a coincidence. These connections have meaning. Back in the 1990s, Leonardo was Hollywood's rising star. From his early roles in What's Eating Gilbert Grape to his breakout in Titanic, he became a household name almost overnight. At the same time, Diddy was building his empire through Bad Boy Records, flashy clothing brands, and a reputation for throwing the most exclusive parties in the entertainment world. At first glance, these two men had nothing in common. One made music, the other made movies, but somehow their worlds kept overlapping, and not just once. There are pictures, events, and stories of Leo attending Diddy's private gatherings. Even while still a teenager, these weren't casual hangouts. They were known to be wild, full of celebrities, and completely off limits to outsiders. So why was Leo always welcome? That's the question Rogan asked, and the more you look into it, the more disturbing it becomes. These weren't red carpet events with media coverage and fanfare. These were closed-door get-togethers where only the inner circle was invited. And Leo was always on the list. One specific photo from the mid-90s has been making the rounds again. It shows Leonardo, barely out of his teens, sitting next to Diddy in a quiet, dimly lit room surrounded by older men. At the time, fans saw it as just another celebrity moment. But now, with Diddy's reputation under fire and serious investigations piling up, that image feels different. It feels like a warning sign people ignored. How did no one ask why a teenage actor was being brought into these elite gatherings, filled with power players twice his age? Rogan's podcast raised more questions than answers. He talked about how young stars like Leonardo always seem to appear around Diddy during the early stages of their careers. Then they'd shoot to the top, landing huge roles, endorsements, and press coverage, but Rogan didn't stop there. He pointed out that after the fame hit, something would always change. These stars would either disappear, become extremely private, or act totally different. Could this be a coincidence? Or is there something deeper going on? When you look back at Leo's early interviews, you notice a shift. In the early 90s, he was open, laughing, and full of energy. But by the late 90s, his tone had changed. He avoided personal questions, dodged conversations about his Hollywood friends, and rarely spoke about his private life. In one old clip, Leo is asked about who he was hanging out with in the industry. He pauses, looks uncomfortable, and changes the subject. At the time, no one thought much of it, but now that awkward moment seems like a red flag. Let's be clear, this isn't just about Leonardo, it's about a pattern. Diddy was always surrounded by young, talented newcomers, singers, actors, models. They all got close to him during their rise, and then just as quickly they either vanished from the public eye or came back completely changed. The stories may be different, but the structure is the same. Diddy welcomes them in, their careers skyrocket, and then things go quiet. Why is that? Why do all roads lead back to Diddy? The media has played a big role in keeping these stories hidden. For years, journalists praised Diddy for his business moves and charity work. They called Leonardo the golden boy of Hollywood. Not once did anyone question their connection. Not once did a reporter dig into those early days and ask, why were they always in the same room? Instead, the press focused on what they wore, who they dated, and what awards they won. The real stories, the ones that mattered, were ignored. There's a reason for this. Hollywood doesn't like people who ask hard questions, reporters who dig too deep lose access, publicists cut them off, lawyers send warnings. So most journalists choose the easy route: smile, nod, write the glowing article, and move on. That's how Diddy's image stayed polished for so long. That's how Leonardo remained untouchable. But now, the truth is leaking through the cracks, and it's too big to hide. Federal investigators recently raided several of Diddy's homes. The footage, the reports, the testimonies, they're all starting to pile up, and suddenly those old party photos don't look so harmless. Suddenly people are asking, who else was there? Leonardo's name keeps coming up, and fans are starting to demand answers. So far, he's stayed silent. But the silence isn't protecting him anymore. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's making people suspicious. Joe Rogan believes Leonardo stayed quiet for a reason, and not because he was guilty, but because that's what Hollywood teaches its stars to do. If you speak out, you risk losing everything: your roles, your reputation, your safety, but silence has a price too. And now, as Diddy's empire crumbles, everyone who stood next to him is being pulled into the spotlight. The question is no longer whether Leonardo was involved. The question is what he saw and why he never spoke up. There are so many other young stars who went through the same cycle. They rose quickly, got close to Diddy, and then dropped off the map. Were they pushed out? Were they warned to stay quiet? Or were they simply trying to escape a world they never signed up for? Hollywood runs on secrets. That's how it's always worked. But the internet has changed the game. Fans are smarter. They're connecting the dots, sharing old clips, and demanding the truth. Diddy's downfall isn't just his problem anymore. It's a wake-up call for the whole industry. The people who turned a blind eye, the stars who stayed quiet, the executives who helped cover it all up, they're all being exposed. And Leonardo DiCaprio is now at the center of that conversation. Not because he did something wrong, but because he was there again and again. At the parties, in the photos, on the red carpets. Always close enough to see what was happening, always quiet enough to stay safe. But staying quiet isn't working anymore. Fans want answers, they want accountability, they want to know what really happened behind those closed doors. Joe Rogan's final message was simple. We don't need a confession to know something is wrong. The signs are everywhere. The photos, the timelines, the behavior, it all points to a much bigger problem than anyone expected. Diddy's empire is falling, and with it, the walls that protected him for decades are crashing down. Anyone who stood too close is now facing the heat. That includes Leonardo. The real question now is, will anyone speak up? Will Leonardo finally break his silence and tell the truth about what he saw? Or will he continue to hide behind the fame and the fortune? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the world is watching, and this time the truth won't stay buried.